This is The Front Stretch on AM 590, brought to you by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
This is Turn 2, fully stocked by the Party Pantry in Council Bluffs, located just off the beaten path of 35th and 5th Avenue. It's hard to find a gas station that won't break the bank. The Party Pantry is that station. Great prices on food, fuel, beer, and so much more. The Party Pantry is where you go to save green. It's also where you go to get filled up with gasoline every Tuesday. Hooters girls from the Hooters in Council Bluffs, so they could be down there pumping your gas at the Party Pantry every Tuesday. So it's full service at gas station now.
Yeah, the only thing I could say is Double D's and 89 octane. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, we covered that last week. You love your Double D's and octane, don't you?
Yep.
Okay, this is the Fast Five. 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. Bud, you got number 1.
NASCAR teams joined together to support autism at Dover. In what has become tradition at Dover International Speedway in the 6 years the track has partnered with Autism Speaks, drivers will again help create autism awareness during the festivities this weekend by showing their support with a decal on their respective cars. Drivers across all 3 series have stepped up to raise awareness for the cause during the Dover race weekend by featuring a decal of the Autism Speaks puzzle piece logo on their cars and trucks. In addition, David Gillian, driver of the number 38 Ford for Front Row Motorsports, will feature a special Autism Speaks paint scheme on his car to show his support for the cause during today's race. Altogether, 15 drivers from the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, 16 from the Nationwide Series, and 13 from the Camping World Series are participating. For a complete list of drivers who are showing their support, see doverspeedway.com. Guys, this is a great cause.
Such a great event that NASCAR takes care of. It's been something that Dover has really taken on and been the leaders for the Autism Awareness Foundation. So it's great to see that kind of stuff. And if you ever need to get information on autism awareness, just Google search it. I don't have the site off the top of my head, but doverspeedway.com has all the information you need. And it's a disease that it's horrible when children have this, because it robs them of a lot of abilities. Andrew, you got number 2.
Number 2, Buddy Ray's girlfriend featured in the next edition of ESPN, the magazine. After her successful IndyCar career, Danica Patrick, yes, Bud's girlfriend is Danica Patrick, is her transition to NASCAR in 2010, which was a rocky start, however. She's trying to win races. She's trying to gain some credibility. She really talks about her haters and everything. Am I in the sport because of my looks, or am I in there because I'm good? Is it unfair? Is it fair? Or is it part of racing, perhaps the only sport where connections and money can get you a spot in the competition? Her fatigue with the women driver storyline and why she does those risque ads.
But I've read the article. It's a great article with Danica, and she addresses a lot of issues about, the things that she has to deal with being the first. She's not the first woman in NASCAR, but she is easily the biggest woman in NASCAR. She's dealing with a lot of different stuff, and unfortunately, with a driver in her position, she's not just dealing with trying to finish races and doing good. She's got media.
Oh, it's horrible. Media
demands that are up there with the top 3 drivers in NASCAR: Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr., Tony Stewart. Those guys. And on top of that, she's got to be scrutinized, and there are people out there that hate her, and she has done absolutely nothing for people to hate her.
No, I don't think she's done nothing wrong, and I'm actually a big fan of her. I like the bad girl attitude. When you seen what she did to Sam Hornish Jr., was she irritated? Yeah. Did she mean to spin him out on purpose? I say no. I mean, he did have a front right tire go down.
I think you definitely changed my opinion on that. She didn't mean to wreck him, but she meant to send him a message.
Absolutely.
Well, this is Turn 2, fully stocked by the Party Pantry in Council Bluffs, just off the beaten path of 35th and 5th Avenue. Full service Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. Get full service on Tuesdays. Get a little bit more full service from the Hooters girls in Council Bluffs. They'll pump your gas. They'll fill you up. They'll take your money. It's a great time. Get to the Party Pantry today, 35th and 5th Avenue in Council Bluffs, where you go to save a few dollars. Well, a brand new Hall of Fame member, Rusty Wallace, speaks out in favor of a shorter NASCAR schedule. I thought this was pretty interesting. Back when he used to race, there used to be about 31, 32 races to a season. Now they race 36-point races, plus they have the 2 dual races at Daytona for the start of the season. The showdown, the Gatorade Dual Showdowns, I can't remember what they've named it now, but it's changed about 19 different times. Plus, you've got the All-Star race. So you're racing 37 to 39 times a season. And to Rusty's point, he's saying that back when I raced, there was less availability and more demand. So maybe if we come back a couple of races, there are some tracks out there that don't have the best racing at them, but yet they've got 2 tracks or 2 races in the season. So maybe we cut back on one of those races, and if they're only selling half the amount of tickets for 2 races, maybe they can sell all of the tickets for 1 race and make more money rather than trying to put a second race on later in the season for half the tickets.
For some of these tracks that are having two races a year, the only thing and I totally understand what you're saying and what Rusty's saying, and it does make sense. But, when we went to Kansas City last year for the Kansas race in the fall, what did we hear about the ticket prices? They were really, really expensive. That's one of the things that we heard about the ticket prices. So I could see some of the tracks going, okay, you know what? We're only going to do the 1 race, so that $57 ticket to get you into the cheap seats at Kansas City, we're only going to do 1 race. Now, what's the chances of that ticket now being $70, $75? So if we were to scale back the races, I like what Rusty is saying. Like you said, where there's, more demand, less supply, or however you said it. But, the smaller scale racing, I'm all for it.
On to number 4, Bud. You got number 4.
Yes, Danica, my girlfriend, would like to run the Indy 500 and Coca-Cola 600 next year. Danica Patrick said this week that she would like to run the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 next year. Now, this conflicts with earlier statements made by her car owner, Tony Stewart, who is planning on running Danica full-time in Cup next year.
And Tony said earlier in the season that he would like for Danica to be full-time in the Cup season in 2013 if she was ready to go and if sponsorship was an availability. What do you guys think? I guess I don't know exactly how to feel on that. If she wants to run the Indy 500 and they can make it logistically happen, why not?
As a race car driver, I'll race anything, anytime, anywhere.
I don't think there's many race car drivers out there that don't have that same sentiment. Put me in a car, I will drive it.
Well, I was going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit coming to the studios this morning. But with that being said, several drivers have done the 600 and the Indy 500 in the same day, but I could see Tony saying, you know what, just back off, don't run the 500, just run the Coca-Cola 600. Let's put our mind and our thought process into 1 race. Don't try to overload yourself.
Yeah. You think there's going to be a conflict of interest? Do you think Tony will, I don't want to say Tony will let her, but as his owner, do you think he'll give her the blessing to say, go and race at the Indy 500 and have your fun over there on Sunday midday, but then you've got to get all the way to Charlotte for the race that night?
I think Tony's going to probably look at being a car owner in the point standings, where she's running, where she's starting, where did she qualify the race. If she's starting 34th and she's 34th in points, Tony might say, okay, go over there and run, get back. If you don't run well this race, it'll be okay. But, I think it's more, that's publicity for her, T-shirt sales for Tony, all that good stuff behind it.
And keep in mind, this is a guy who does a lot of dirt track racing when he's got the availability to do it. He raced at Eagle Raceway the same weekend they were at Kansas. He does this a lot with Tony Stewart Racing with his Sprint Cup cars. So it might be a little hypocritical for him to say, no, you can't race a second race. Not really.
The way I look at it, if I was Danica, he's the boss. He's the car owner. He's the team owner. He can do what he wants. She's pretty much the hired help. So, she's got to do what he's got to say. But Andrew does have a good point with, if she was to go run Indy, what a great marketing deal, if it all works out for him.
There was talk between Bruton Smith, who owns Charlotte Motor Speedway, and I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe he owns Indianapolis Motor Speedway also. There was talk of if a driver can race both races and win them, that there was like a $20 million purse that he would give that person to entice somebody from the NASCAR world to come over to the IZOD IndyCar world, or vice versa, to try to take the 2 sports and build this big media frenzy behind them. So I would try it for $20 million.
I would try it.
I probably wouldn't survive it, but I would try it for $20 million.
Right now, I try it for $100.
Lord knows my underwear wouldn't survive it.
You guys are sick.
Dick Berggren, a longtime announcer on Fox for the broadcast. Andrew, he's set to retire after today's race.
You know what? I've known Dick Berggren actually for a while. Him and my dad have actually been pretty good friends. I've been in a few magazines of his. He's done all the NASCAR banquets we go to. He's always the head announcer, and this is going to kind of be weird not hearing his voice every single week on NASCAR, but he's been in NASCAR for 31 years now, and he announced this week that he's going to retire from broadcasting. His first race His first pit report, however, was at Dover, and it's going to be his last pit report at Dover. Berggren turned 70 last Sunday and said, "Life will be different without Fox. I'm very proud of having been part of NASCAR on Fox broadcasts from the beginning. I'm dreading the 2013 Daytona 500 because I won't be there on the pit road as part of the team. That will be hard, but nothing is forever, and I understand that."
I absolutely love listening to Dick Berggren as they do their pit reports, and obviously today is the last race of the season for the Fox to do their broadcasts. They come back later in the season, but this is it for Dick Berggren. He's going to hang up his microphone, and it's a sad day. This is, in my world, this is kind of the same thing as when Harry Carey called his last baseball game, or Walter Cronkite signed off for the last time on nightly news. So, in the NASCAR world, Dick Berggren's a legend. He's been around forever, 31 years. That's a long time for me. I know it's not too long for you, bud, but so it's sad to see Dick go. I called you old there, bud.
Oh, okay.
Let me break it down for you. I called you old. Well, the flag mate is getting a signal for halfway done. That means we've wrapped up Turn 2, and Turn 3 is just around the corner. We're sitting down with Scott Carlson, driver of the 1S car at Harlan Speedway. What's that? Shelby Speedway, excuse me. So we're going to talk to him about how his season's going, what he expects for the rest of the season, and talk to him a little bit about his history. I've heard so much about this guy. I can't wait to hear it from his mouth. Scott Carlson just around the corner. This is The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.